bells to listen to, time to spend. Up ahead, the road is bending. Wonder what's around the bend.
The age of steam has come and gone, but tonight we're going to visit one small town where it lingers. That's Billy Byrd, out for an afternoon drive in Madisonville, Kentucky.
You hear that stack out there, here talking to? Listen at it. You're not going to get a gas engine sound like that.
No rich man in his Cadillac is as happy and content as Billy Byrd at the throttle of his steam engine. So that's one stop we're planning tonight. Kind of a whistle stop.
Wanna see what's on the other side of the mountaintop, rainbow's end. I can see the road is bending. Wonder what's around the bend.
Come across a poet. I don't mean a writer of verse. I mean somebody who has inside him such a love of something, farming, flying, furniture making, that just telling you about it, he makes you love it too. I'd say Billy Byrd is a poet.
Seaboard engine 6041, calling Atkinson Yard office.
Seaboard Atkinson Yard over.
Bud, will you see if we can come out through the crossover, please, sir?
Is it okay to come out through the crossover and into the main track?
All right, here we go.
Billy Byrd is that fabulous character from the American story, a locomotive engineer. From Madisonville, Kentucky, down through Morton's Gap to Hopkinsville and Guthrie, he has memorized every sidetrack, hill, and curve.
This is a private crossing. I'm afraid that old farmer will come out there with a tractor or something, you know. Always blow for it.
Billy Byrd is a master at running a big L&N diesel. It is well known on the railroad that nobody does it better. But some men are born too late. Billy Byrd's hand is on a diesel throttle, but he left his heart back there in the cab of the steam locomotive he ran when he was young. Look for Billy Byrd on his day off, and chances are you'll find him in the yard of the Crab Orchard and Egyptian Railroad over in Marion, Illinois. The CO&E still runs steam, the last working freight line to do so. And here, Billy Byrd, an old lover, comes to visit his old love.
When they've got steam in them, they just like they're alive. There's movement about them, either the air pump's working, which sound just like they're breathing. Hear the thump, 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 thump.
It sounds to me like you'd like to climb back up in the cab of a steam locomotive as in the old days and do it all over.
Best overall job in the world. I'd rather have it than have President Reagan's job. Beautiful machine, beautiful machine. Now that's not a real big engine, that's a small engine. But they were mainline engines. And they haul the freight of this country. They and their sisters, that's what made this country what it is today. And it was a sad sight for me and other fellows like me, seeing them pulled to the boneyard. It broke our hearts to see them leave, to think of the good that they had done and were still capable of doing. Make your blood turn cold up.
So deep does the passion for steam engines run in Billy Byrd that he went out and found one of his own. He keeps it parked beside his house in Madisonville, a marvelous Nichols and Shepard relic dating to 1919. And as the neighborhood dogs bark and the neighbors hold their ears, he regularly fires it up and drives it around town.
You hear that stack out there? Hear it talking to? Listen at it. You're not going to get a gas engine sound like that. It's always had a fascination for me. You can see everything. It's just the raw power and just the feel of the control of the engine in your hand, the power at your command. And I've always loved them, and ever since I've been big enough to know anything, why, I knew I wanted to run a steam engine. So when the railroad dieselized, I had to get one that they couldn't take away from me, one that was my own.
The engineers of the steam locomotives which passed Billy Byrd's schoolyard in Adams, Tennessee, used to wave to him when he was a boy, and even stop and give him rides on the engine. And there began this passion for steam trains and steam men that has burned in him lifelong. He became a steam locomotive engineer just about the time they started replacing the steam engines. But he remembers those great machines. I stood there with Billy Byrd and listened to as beautiful a description as a man could ever give of a job he had once.
Well, there was no thrill like having a good steam locomotive with a tonnage train, you know, one up in good shape, good water and good coal. And a moonlight night was the best time, because it would be light enough that you could see the motion of your valve motion and the side rods, and see your drivers turning over, the big balance weights on the drivers, and see the fire dancing through the holes in the firebox door. Think of all the power that you had at your command, that she was responding to your touch. She held no secrets from you. And lean on the armrest and see the smoke trail back over the train. See that headlight shining out there, and hear that old girl talk to you in the language which you and she understood. Go through the little towns, people would be sleeping. It seemed like it was just you and she were in the world all alone now.
Every working day, Billy Byrd takes the afternoon freight down to Guthrie. All the power of a modern diesel in his hand. And he is good at it, and he does it by the book, observing the speed restrictions, blowing for the blind crossings. It is an honorable craft. But steam was poetry, and Billy Byrd is a poet. Born too late,